So the road to UFC tournament does start as soon as a week away, and it is going to be taking place May 27th and May 28th for the very first round of the tournament. If you don't know anything about the tournament, I do recommend you watch my video explaining what the tournament is and kind of what's going on, how to watch it, that sort of thing. I think it's a pretty informative video. I mean, it's coming from me, but a few people have watched it, and I do appreciate all of the support on that video. I will kind of link it in the pinned comment, and I'll put it somewhere on the screen. You know what I mean? You'll be able to see it there. But now I'm going to be predicting the outright winners for each individual weight class. So with that being said, I will still give a very quick description about what Road to UFC is. And that is a tournament. There's going to be 8 fighters from 4 different weight classes, and 1 fighter will win the entire tournament and will win a UFC contract. And it should be a pretty good tournament this year. I'm really looking forward to it, but there are some fighters that I am predicting to win the entire thing before the tournament even starts. It is worth noting though, last year I only got 1 fighter right to predict the whole tournament. That was the bantamweight fighter Rinya Nakamura, who ended up winning the entire tournament. Everyone else I picked to win the whole thing didn't win. So that didn't really work out for me. So if your favorite fighter isn't on this list of fighters that I think are going to win, maybe you could just kind of think, oh yeah, well maybe it's just his opinion and he didn't get it right last year. So maybe your favorite fighter probably does have a great chance to win. I am just not picking them too. So the first weight class is flyweight, because it is flyweight to lightweight. And I think the winner of the flyweight bout, or the flyweight part of the tournament, is probably actually in this fight here. I think there's actually a very good chance that the winner of Mark Climaco versus Jung Hyun Lee will win the entire thing. But on top of that as well, Ray Saruya is also a guy that could definitely take it as well. He is a very good fighter. I think he's also got a fantastic chance of winning the whole thing. But ultimately, my final prediction for the winner of the flyweight part of the tournament at the moment is Mark Climaco. I do like Mark Climaco quite a bit. I mean, I believe he is Filipino, but he has done a lot of training in USA. He's done a lot of fights in USA as well. Trains at American Kickboxing Academy, so he does have a lot of good experience. And then on top of that as well, he's beaten everyone he's fought except for Yuma Horiguchi. And Yuma Horiguchi, although he doesn't have the prettiest record in the world, he is still a very good fighter. And since then, he does beat 2 undefeated guys in a row. But Jung Hyun Lee is also going to be a guy to worry about. Jung Hyun Lee is a powerful striker. He's a decent grappler, and he's also a great prospect. And then also on top of that as well is Ray Saruya, who is a very young up-and-coming prospect, and I think he probably does have the best chance to upset the tournament, in my opinion. And I think he probably has the best chance to defeat Mark Climaco in the tournament. But I am picking Mark Climaco to win the whole tournament for the flyweights. The winner for the bantamweights, in my opinion, it seems to be quite unanimous among a lot of people that are predicting Road to UFC, a lot of people that are covering Road to UFC. It kind of has been unanimously agreed upon that Shuya Kamikubo will probably win the tournament. I personally believe that Shuya Kamikubo will win the bantamweight tournament as well. He is 12-1, but on top of being 12-1, this guy has some really good experience. Like, this is a guy that fought multiple times for one. I believe he's actually got 6 wins for one championship, which is one of the biggest promotions in the world. A lot of people believe that one championship is the second biggest promotion in the world, and Shuya Kamikubo went on a 6-fight win streak for this promotion against really good competition. So I think there's definitely something to be said about that. He's also undefeated since 2015. He's unbeaten since 2015 as well. So I think that we're going to have a good chance that Shuya Kamikubo comes out and wins the whole thing. You can look at other bantamweights and kind of try and spot out who would also be a good option, but I do believe Shuya Kamikubo is the best option and the best pick to win the whole thing. I think aside from that, Long Zhao and Shohei Noze could both go very far in this tournament. UFC seems to really like Long Zhao. He fought on Dana White's Contender Series a couple of weeks ago. He had a couple of opportunities on Road to UFC to fight, and he just, for various reasons, wasn't able to. And also, there is also a couple of undefeated fighters fighting down here, and also Chang Ho Lee is a good prospect. Rana Rajat Pratap Singh is also pretty good, but I do believe Shuya Kamikubo will come out on top, and I think he will win the bantamweight side of the tournament. Now, the winner of the featherweight side of the tournament, is very competitive. In my opinion, I think that the featherweight side of the tournament is probably the most stacked weight class overall. Maybe you could say the argument could be for the flyweights, but I think featherweight is stacked. But the pick to win the whole thing is also going to be a former one championship fighter, and that is Kai-Wen Lee. I have also seen him called Lee Kai-Wen as well, so I do apologize if I am pronouncing his name the wrong way around, but I do believe Kai-Wen Lee will win the whole thing, and I'm pretty confident as well. I'm not really that confident, but I like his experience at one championship. I like his KO power as well. Like, this guy is really good, man. Like, this guy can get KOs. And when I was actually first getting into MMA, it was actually a funny little kind of weird story. I actually found out that this card here was the first ever one championship card I ever watched, and I actually do remember Lee Kai-Wen throwing the illegal strike, which ended up in the disqualification loss for him, which was funny. And it actually genuinely was the first one championship fight card I ever watched. And now Lee Kai-Wen is going to be on road to UFC, and obviously now I have a YouTube channel. I'm much more knowledgeable about MMA, and I'm covering his fight, which is kind of cool. Kind of comes around full circle in a way, but I do think he's going to win. I like his experience at a high level. I also like the fact that he's fought at a 155 in the past as well, I believe. And I think he's good, man. You know, when he was fighting at 1FC, he was one championship, sorry, he was fighting earlier on, and he was so young. He was like 20 years old when he fought Martin Nguyen, and now he's had so much time to take time off. He was also rumored to actually be trying to sign to the UFC until he lost this fight, and if he won that fight, he probably would have gotten signed directly, but now he's got another opportunity. As I said though, 145 is the most stacked weight class though out of them all. You've got Keisuke Sasu, who I think has a very good chance of winning the whole thing. You've got Jia Yi, who made it all the way to the finals in the last one. In my opinion, I think he probably should have gotten the decision, although I did predict his opponent, Zhang Yang Li, to defeat him. I still thought Jia Yi probably won the whole thing. And you've also got other fighters as well, like Yibu Zhali is very well kind of renowned in the regional scene of China. I think he might have a pretty good chance as well, but he is actually not favored to defeat Koya Kanda, which is interesting. I don't rate Kai-Wen Lee's first opponent, Liu Kai, too much. I do think that Lee Kai-Wen should be able to get it done. I think he should be able to get a knockout, and I think he should be able to win the whole thing. But I think his toughest opponent in this whole tournament will be Jia Yi, or maybe even Keisuke Sasu, who showed off some good wrestling and grappling in his last fight. We're going to move on now to the lightweight side. I'm pretty confident with this lightweight pick, but the problem with this lightweight pick is this fighter here, Shin Haraguchi, is tiny for lightweight. I don't believe Shin Haraguchi cuts weight whatsoever. He is so small for 155 pounds. When I was watching him fight, like, he is so much smaller than his opponents, but he's just so good at wrestling. He's got a very good wrestling background. I believe he's like an Asian wrestling champion. I think he's got some international experience as well. Fantastic wrestler. Very, very good wrestler. But my problem with Shin Haraguchi is he's so small for this weight class, and I do worry that if he does sign to the UFC, I'm worried that he might be too small for 155. I really would much prefer seeing Shin Haraguchi maybe cut some weight and go to 145. You guys will know what I mean when you see him fight in the tournament. He is 5'6", but he's not that big at 5'6". I really would much rather this guy at a lower weight division, but that's okay. I still think that his wrestling will be able to carry him through here, and I think he should be able to win the tournament. I think his biggest opponent in this tournament, I think the guy that will probably meet him in the finals, is Zhu Rong. Rong Zhu has also spent time in the UFC himself. He did go 1 and 2. He won one fight and then he lost 2 fights. But he's got good wrestling as well. And he's also got good striking. And Rong Zhu, he just didn't have the best UFC run, but he is still a very good fighter. And now he's trying to fight to get back into the UFC. I think he is Shin Haraguchi's a most difficult opponent, you know what I mean, going into this finals. And then on top of that, you've got Won Bin Ki, who is massive for this weight class, but Bahata Boli Bate Balati is also a really good grappler, but he's also a fantastic striker that throws a lot of kicks. He does have an interesting fight in his debut for the Road to UFC tournament against Windris Patilima, who is a former welterweight. But even on top of that, Windris Patilima was not very big for 170, so he probably is fighting in his preferred or probably better weight class, I would say. But that's kind of my picks. I've got Mark Climaco to win 125. I've got Shuya Kamikubo to win 135, and I've got Lee Kai Wen to win 145, and at 155 I've got Shin Haraguchi. Let me know who you think could go all the way. Let me know if you think that I'm wrong. I'm happy to hear your comments. I'm happy to hear your opinions. I'm happy to hear maybe you list who you think is going to win the whole thing, or maybe you list someone that you agree with or someone that you disagree with. I'm interested to hear your opinions in the comments, but they are my picks to win the whole thing. I am aware I kind of gave away a lot of my picks for the first 4 cards here, but it is what it is. I want to predict the winners before the tournament even starts, because I don't want to predict the winners after the tournament starts, because it's kind of cheating a little bit, you know what I mean? So they're my winners to win the whole thing, and I'm very interested to hear what you think in the comments below.